Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here, episode 5 of the Brawl for All Pro Wrestling Show. This week, I finally got was supposed to be my regularity co-host from the beginning, Stephen Lane, with me. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Too bad we can't get the stars to align and get all 3 people at one time on here, because I'd like to get you on here with Jeff, too, so.
Yeah.
But it's cool to get you on finally. If you want to do any kind of explanation why you haven't been on.
Well, I know the first night you guys did it, I was actually in Chicago getting a car, and then it seemed like every time after that I was either doing something or working. I've been working 2 jobs now, so it's kind of hard to balance.
Yeah, it's like the stars just haven't aligned to where we can all get on there. I kind of would like to get on a track or somehow we can all get on here at least once in a while. All 3 of us could get on here.
Yeah.
But I don't know, if you want to get right into it, we can, man. I mean, everybody knows what's up by now. It's episode 5, so we're going to get into Raw. So you watched it today, you said?
Yep, I watched it today.
So what have you been thinking lately about Dean Ambrose and Rollins? I haven't even talked to you, I don't think, on the show since they've went on their own and everything. So what do you think about this whole deal with Dean Ambrose and Cena being in this feud?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting because, when CM Punk, I hate bringing up CM Punk's name, by the way, but I'll bring it up just because, he was a big star in the company, and it seemed like they didn't do anything with him, but then he leaves the company, and then you get, guys like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins who are, I like Seth Rollins, I think he could be big time, but it seems like these guys are getting bigger pushes than CM Punk did the last year he was in the company, and I kind of think that's funny. I mean, imagine what CM Punk thinks watching. It's like, why are these guys getting... And these guys are... Dean Ambrose, he's out there feuding with basically Cena and kind of Triple H in a way.
Yeah, did you listen to my last show where I mentioned that it just doesn't seem right, these guys feuding with Cena?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense in a way.
It's like they got Cena trying to act like he's so all about like beating Rollins' ass and stuff like that, and they're trying to put him on a main event level, and it's just not working.
No, it's not. Not right now, it's not.
Ambrose would be more believable than Rollins to me in a feud with Cena right now. I don't know why they just didn't throw that together right now.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You got Ambrose feuding with Cena, but who also wants to beat Rollins up.
And then you have Orton thrown into there.
Right, and you're like, who's Orton after? I guess he's after Rollins, so it's like a...
Yeah, because you're going to see this little debacle coming up about Rollins and Orton getting into a fight. We might as well just mention it right now. Rollins and Orton ended up having a continuing little feud on there during Orton's match where Rollins came out. It ended up curb stomp to Ziggler after the match was over or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he turned around right into his match where Orton ended up putting an RKO on Swagger after Rollins beat him.
Yeah, he was out there watching the match the whole time. You're like, well, you know how this is going to end.
Yeah, you knew it was going to happen because, it just happened to him. So he's going to... I don't even understand why they had him just sit there and watch the match. You know what I mean? Get to it already if you're going to do it.
Yeah, he's like, well, I know Orton's going to RKO me at the end. Just get it over.
Yeah, it was kind of stupid. Made Swagger and Ziggler look pretty weak, too. Just like you knew they were going to get jobbed out.
Right, and that's another point, is when those guys show up on Monday, they're basically, Swagger and Dolph's like, okay, well, we know you guys are basically the best wrestlers we have, so we're just going to use you as a wrestler to have a good match for these guys, make these guys look good.
Glorified jobbers.
Right, and these guys...
But they got the belt on Ziggler, and they're using him as a jobber.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It makes me sick almost how they use the belts. I just think, I don't understand why they even have them. It's just, I agree, I heard JR say, why even have them? Why even have the belts if you're not going to use them right anyway?
I don't know what they're trying to get the point across, because they have these belts, the Intercontinental. To me, the Intercontinental is the better one.
Yeah, because that's always been the stepping stone title, even back in the day when Macho Man and all them guys carried it. It was always the best worker held the IC title, or the guy. It was like the precursor to the world title, even when Warrior came along,
Yeah, why can't it be like a TV title where it's like he will defend it every week on TV, and that right there would garner interest.
Well, I think we discussed when we had the Pro Wrestling Rush that they should make a TV title.
Like a TV title, and make it mean something, and have him go out there and it's like, I will fight to the end for this.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be more interested in who the TV champion was, I think, than this meaningless U.S. and IC titles, which I thought they were going to stress more on since they got rid of the WWE for a while because Brock obviously isn't showing up till next year. He's not. But I guess they got him booked for December 8th Raw this year, I think, though. So I can't say that. So he will be coming back for the. Yeah.
And that's hurting the WWE title too.
Yeah, it is. Like, how can you not have the guy on TV and he's carrying your belt? I mean, at least they're going to have to at least phone him in satellite or something. I don't see that working where they're just not going to be able to mention him.
Man, I don't know. Brock Lesnar, to me, it's just his run. I mean, his run, it's not his fault, but beating The Undertaker, which, WWE basically admitted, mistake, and then now they're giving him the title. That's a huge mistake as well. I mean,
I think it was a mistake kind of giving him the belt, although he is the most over heel in the company, I'd say, and probably the most believable champion you could have. And I think the thing that they did was, let's legitimize him beating The Undertaker by letting him have this title reign.
Yeah.
I think that's where they were coming from.
But when he's not even there, like, this whole month, I mean, where has he been?
Well, he's not scheduled. I mean, he's just part-time. But like JR says, like I said last episode, he said, he don't mind them doing a part-time gig, and like the old school champion only came around once a while in the territory days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he understands all that, and he thinks it's fine. But, I mean, you've got to feature the title before, at your top events like Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. I've never remember one without a WWE title match.
Yeah.
It'd probably be the first in history.
Yeah, I know JR, I heard the same thing where he said, he doesn't mind it, but then I want to say a week later on his podcast, he said, it's fine, but in WWE, like in modern day, you got to have the champion on TV.
Every now and then.
You're right, but they're making it towards like, the title means nothing because you haven't seen it. Where's it even at?
So what do you think about Triple H coming out, going back to Raw, going back, and he made that three-way tag team match with Cena and Ambrose, Usos, and Stardust and Goldust? What was the point of that?
What was the point of that? Because you knew exactly what was going to happen.
Why wouldn't he just come right out and have Cena and Ambrose? You're gonna have the main event at the end, and let those guys have some kind of meaningful match. Because that was the next segment after the opening segment, which I thought was decent. It was decent because it set up Cena and Ambrose with the triple threat tag match, which was something different for a while, I guess.
Yeah.
For a change.
The match meant nothing because it's like, well, you guys are going to fight later tonight anyway, so.
Well, you didn't know that right off the bat, but once they won and they were one-upping each other, you knew the Authority was going to come right back out and do something.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was kind of surprised that they did a main event match right there on the spot. That was supposed to be at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I figured it would end in disqualification or something would happen to where there wouldn't be a winner. But I was surprised there's a winner. So.
Did you know the viewership though on this Raw? It fell every single hour. It dropped more, even though they pushed a no holds barred pay-per-view main event. That was one of the notes I had down.
Wow.
And I'm just not a bit interested in either of these Hell in a Cell matches that they're setting up. So.
Oh gosh, no, I'm not interested at all anymore. Just because it's PG. PG Hell in a Cell.
Right.
Come on, really?
I mean, I report it because I love wrestling, and I like watching it and following it and keeping it going because it's just in me, in my blood. I always have. And I'm not just going to stop watching. I'm giving it hope. I'm hoping, Global Force or TNA can turn things around, maybe.
Yeah. But, basically what they're asking to do is just to have a good wrestling match inside of a big, huge Hell in a Cell. And it's not the same Hell in a Cell.
No, they don't get color. They don't bleed. They've got a blade, in my opinion, in a cage match, or it's horrible. The best Hell in a Cell matches were the ones like Brock against Taker, where they bladed and they were just bleeding, and it was just like epic, man. I mean, if you're in a cage match of that caliber, you should be bleeding at the end. When steel and chairs and everything's involved, I mean, come on. And it just adds to the drama of the match, you know?
Yep, that's what that match means.
They're taking away their only way to make it believable.
Yeah.
And this is stuff we've talked about back in our old show. If anybody wants to go back and listen to those, I mean, we've talked about that a lot. So we can skip right over AJ and Layla and Paige and Alicia because that was just pretty much meaningless. I mean, what do you even think of the Divas division these days?
Well, the way I see it is they pick a diva, one diva every 6 months and push them. That's usually how it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like there's no meaning to...
No. It's the AJ reign. That's what's going on, and it'll be Layla a year and a half from now. You know, she'll go...
I just wish they'd call Charlotte up is all.
Yeah.
Because I do see her as like a major women's star.
Yeah.
If they use her right.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, when you had Trish Stratus and all these girls, at what point did they get so popular? It's like, how can they get these divas now popular like they did them?
They can't. The whole wrestling as a realm can't. It's just not cool like it was back in those days.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, you let Lita do moonsaults and hardcore stuff, and that was just something that nobody ever saw before. Trish Stratus she started out as just eye candy and became a good wrestler, which was something that was unique. But it was just like that they just had that chemistry, Trish and Lita did. Because if you think back, I mean, what other divas besides them two were really great hands in the ring?
Oh, man.
I mean, I always say Medusa, Alundra Blaze was good, and she was before them. But other than that, I really don't know who was really that great.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go back, I got a blank right now. Sensational Sherry Martel. She was a good women's wrestler, great women's wrestler.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's going back before. I mean, but any of these divas that they really have, like Stacy Keibler, you know, Tori Wilson, none of them have ever been really good in the ring. Jackie Gata. I mean, you can name a list. Kelly was bad.
Yeah. I think Alicia Fox is a really good wrestler.
She's good. I forgot to mention her. You got Natalya that's good.
Yeah, because Alicia Fox seems to be able to carry a match and put on a pretty good match.
So I'd say you've got at least like a handful of women that you could actually make a really good division out of if you wanted to bring them all up and put them in the same thing. Tyra Banks is pretty good in NXT too.
Yeah.
I think she could do good. But just to move on, that match was over. You had the whole Ziggler, Orton, and Swagger deal that we talked about.
Yep.
Already. So, any thoughts on that?
It was a great match.
I do have an interest in seeing an Orton-Rollins feud over... I think they should have switched up the Hell in the Cell matches, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Why not have Orton face Rollins and Cena face Ambrose in the Cell? I would have rather seen that.
I would rather see that as well. I think Orton could really help. You know, Orton, he's always in a tough spot. It's like, what are they going to do with him?
I know. Is it about... Do you think his run's just about over? Like, it's just like he's been in WWE so long in this kind of system where they just really don't care.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of things. I think the Flame is just kind of idling, and at the same time, he fits in more with, like, TV-14, I think, you know, with the... It seems like he's just not able to do what he wants to do. That's what it kind of seems like.
Yeah, it is.
You know, he comes to work and he's basically just doing what he's told, and he's not really doing what he wants. And it's like, I would like to see him do what he wants. Do what you want, and I think he'd get a better product out of him. But
it does seem a lot to me like he just phones it in. He comes in, gets his paycheck, goes through the motions, and goes home. Although he's a hell of a worker, like that match he had with Jericho Jericho's last match at Night of Champions was great.
Yes. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Orton's great. He really is. I mean, he just kind of seems burnt. He seems burnt out. Maybe he could use some time off.
I mean, yeah, they could give him a couple years off, and he could still come back pretty good.
Red hot. Yeah.
At least a year off, give him. Refresh his character. Maybe give him some kind of a different vibe to him.
Yeah.
He's really becoming really. He's always been boring, but he's becoming real boring.
Yeah.
But we got to mention that the Randy Orton Vines video is hilarious.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen that, check it out. But man, I watched it and that's funny. I loved it.
Oh man.
My only note about these two matches that they had, where we talked about, where it just kind of like seemed like they were setting up a little feud between Orton and Rollins. The only thing I got to say is I feel sorry for Dolph having to job out being the IC champion. And then I feel sorry for Jack Swagger, falling so far down the ranks. So fast.
He's the best match of the night, but they'll never do nothing with him.
He's a heck of a wrestler, but like I said, he has that trouble with the lisp and everything where they just I don't think they like his talking so much.
Yeah, and that kind of stinks.
But they do have Zeb there, though, so I don't see what the difference is.
They're good faces now. I mean, they're like legit tops,
He was getting over so big in the Rusev feud, that could still be going on right now.
Yeah, and it could. Yeah. The Rusev feud now makes no sense. I don't know what they're doing, but.
And speaking of the Rusev feud, that's next. Big Show and Rusev with Lana. They finally gave the match after 2 weeks or whatever it was.
Oh gosh.
Not really too much to talk about except for the Mark Henry did get involved in the end, though, and I think they are leaning towards Mark Henry going heel, which that's what he needs to be. He's a natural heel. They missed the boat by not turning him heel with Rusev already.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like he had that minor heel turn on main event, remember?
Yeah, and it's like, what? They don't even know what they want to do sometimes, it seems.
Right. His big heel turn's going to come against Big Show.
Yeah, you can almost kind of see the writing on the wall.
And I don't know what they're going to do with Rusev now, but this Big Show feud's not really going anywhere. But they did have Big Show throw the knockout punch on him, so I thought that was kind of like they didn't want The Rock to make him look bad, but they had Big Show drop him with a punch the next week.
Yeah, he's just getting disrespected every week now.
Well, they didn't want Rock to make him look bad, so they didn't have him do any kind of moves, but they have Big Show come back and give him the knockout punch.
Yeah, that's kind of funny how...
That don't make any sense.
No, it don't.
Okay, well, just to move on, I'm not really interested in that, but, I mean, it was okay, having the little Henry deal and stuff. I guess everything was kind of meaningful tonight, on this Raw anyway. But the next match I know you wanted to get to, Sheamus versus The Miz with Damien Sandow. So what is your thoughts? I know you love Mizdow, and he's the reason that Miz got the win by count out, because he did that funny little imitation of him being hurt and crawled under the ring, and then he pulled out the wrong guy and got counted out. So what's your thoughts on Damien Mizdow, who I'm going to say right now may be the most entertaining guy of 2014, misused greatly.
That segment where he imitated everything that Miz was doing, regardless if he was on offense or defense.
It was hilarious, man. It was hilarious. And did you ever go and check out the part that they had of him on the main event?
I don't think I did. I don't think I saw that.
That was funny, too. He's dressed up like Sheamus and comes out as Sheamus because he had him on Miz TV. So he had Sandow come out as Sheamus, and then real Sheamus came out, and he was doing standing right next to Sheamus, doing everything that he did and talking. It was hilarious, man. But you got to go back and see it, man. But Mizdow's great, man. What do you think about Miz? Mizdow, Damien Sandow. I don't like to call him Mizdow, really.
Mizdow, man, it's the new Santino. I mean, that's the comic relief now that Santino's gone. So,
do you think they need to tweak his gimmick or keep him a comedy character?
I think they should keep it a comedy character because this past Monday was the most entertaining he's been by far. And you wonder who whose idea was. I mean, was it off the cuff or was it all planned out?
Well, he's been doing those imitations of everybody, so I think it was just kind of a blend of that, like an advancement of, like, what do you call it, an evolution of that character into, like, being a stunt double for The Miz, which is ridiculous because I hate The Miz, but I love Mizdow.
I mean, when The Miz was in, like, what looked kind of like a camel clutch, and Sandow's acting like he's in a camel clutch, too.
Oh,
what
it
is
was
the
great.
point of that? Why is he doing that?
I think it's just so hilarious, though. It's the funniest thing going. He's been entertaining all year, in my opinion.
Oh, man. They might be using him as the new Santino in a way, because he's doing a good job of it.
Santino may be coming back, though, so that'll be interesting.
I read that, which I don't know if he will. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
He retires for health reasons anyway, so he's kind of like, well, I don't know.
It's that neck injury, but he says with surgery he could come back now, or there's a possibility of him coming back. I reported it a couple shows ago if you want to go back and hear it, but yeah, that'll be interesting. Naomi, Natalya, and Brie defeated, who was it? Cameron, Nikki, and I can't remember who the other... Summer Rae. It was Summer Rae. So that was just a blow off too.
Yeah, we can barely remember.
Yeah, I mean Naomi, Natalya, and Brie. Okay, so they won that match.
The lady they brought in, whatever, Nene Leakes or whoever.
Oh yeah, Nene Leakes. I forgot to mention her. And they had Chrisley on here for a minute, which I barely. If you would have blinked, you would have missed him.
Yeah, that stuff's gotta stop. Like this side act, you know.
I don't like it. They didn't really have him interfere too much with the show, though, so that was good.
Yeah, it didn't interfere, so...
All right, well, the main event, John Cena, Dean Ambrose, the pay-per-view match given to us for free, the no-holds-barred contract on a pole match, which ultimately ended with Cena getting sidetracked right on the side of the ring. Was he sidetracked by Kane and Orton and Rollins? So Ambrose was able to pull down the contract for the win.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
It was pretty boring main event. Calling it no holds barred was ridiculous in my honest opinion. That was nowhere near a no holds barred match. They didn't give it enough time.
No, it wasn't a good match.
If you notice, they've really been stretching it towards the end where you're like, man, are they going to have enough time to have this match?
Yeah.
Let alone pull off these storylines that they're trying to pull off in there.
Yeah.
For 3 hours, they're stretching it. Like, come on. That writing's so bad.
Yeah, they added another hour of Raw to fit in stuff like this, and then now they can't even fit that in.
Yeah, it was pretty pathetic. Pretty pathetic.
You know, and like JR says, the 3-hour Raw probably will stay 3 hours, but with, you know, me and you, we always say that 3 hours has got to go back to 2 hours.
Yeah, we've been saying that from the get-go from the old show, that 3 hours is almost like it's a job to watch it.
It's a job, yeah.
You want to fall asleep by that third hour.
Exactly, less is more.
And did they not learn anything? Well, Vince Russo had it right whenever he went to Nitro and turned it from 3 to 2 hours.
Yes. That's another story.
Another thing I gotta say is I heard this and I agree. Why didn't Daniel Bryan just keep the title if Lesnar was gonna be out all that time anyway?
Yeah, I guess Daniel Bryan just has too many health problems.
Yeah. So that was the end of Raw though. So overall, I think it was pretty decent. I have a few notes to go. I have a few notes to go over and stuff too. If you want to go over them real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Did you hear about Angle getting offered a long-term deal by WWE, but he apparently turned it down, and he's gonna sign with TNA part-time probably.
Oh no, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, because he got offered a full-time deal, but maybe he can work it out to where he can get a part-time with WWE too.
I hope he works something out, because come on, you cannot go back to TNA.
No, I don't want to see him in TNA anymore. Unless they can turn it around and get Punk in there.
Man, I mean, yeah, Punk going to TNA would be one thing, but Angle's got to go back to WWE. Come on. I could see Angle feuding with the Authority. You know, being like one of the next, like, I don't know, commissioners or something. Like, that seems like more his role at this point.
Well, he's been doing that anyway at TNA.
Yeah, and I think in WWE they could use somebody like that, you know, and he'd be the perfect guy for it.
Did you see, you've been watching the Monday Night Wars, right?
Yeah, here and there whenever I get extra
Well, they
time,
focused
you
on
know?
the cruiserweights this week, but next week on the note, they're going to do a Bill Goldberg episode.
Oh, wow.
I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, the Stone Cold one that was some good.
Oh, yeah, and mentioning Stone Cold, he ruled out that return at WrestleMania 31 rumor. He said he has no desire to return to the ring. He said he don't have no time on his schedule, really, to train to come back. But they are planning some kind of non-in-ring return, is what I heard, but he wants to play a more prominent role next year. So it's going to be interesting to keep up with what's going on there.
Maybe special referee or something like that again.
I'd like to see him come back and be like a GM.
The GM, you know, when he was the GM or commissioner, I can't
Just let him run the whole thing. That'd boost some ratings. If he could be on SmackDown and Raw, because they only have one show now.
Yeah, show up once a week and run the show.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
They need, you know, they need something at this point. They need a jolt of energy. They need somebody like him.
They really do.
Or Angle, you know, like a big signing like Sting. If they could get Sting,
they could throw Goldberg back in there too.
You know, Goldberg said plenty of times that he wants, you know, one more WrestleMania. You know, maybe they'll do a Stone Cold Goldberg, which I know a lot of people disagree because it doesn't do anything to help future WWE stars. But
no, but that's a match I've always wanted to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Did you see WWE release Justin Roberts?
I saw that. What the heck is up with that?
I don't know. I really don't care if he's gone or not. He really doesn't play a big role.
I like Lillian better anyway.
I heard he had a fight with Michael Cole out ringside or something like that, but he ruled out that wasn't the case, that he got fired. He like a personal decision.
Really? Because I need to look up about that, because there has to be a reason why they released him, because he did kind of, you know, he was the voice of Raw. And,
well, he was the announcer, yeah. You wouldn't say the voice of Raw is Cole.
I mean, the dude's been there since, 2002?
Right.
Come on. What did he do? He did something for them to, you know, be a penny pincher. It can't be all about money.
No.
At this point anymore. They've already cut everything they can.
Yeah.
Man, I would like to know what was going on with him, because that's weird.
Well, here, yeah, it's weird. We'll probably find out more in the next few weeks, but yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, that's weird.
An interesting note: AJ Styles dropped the New Japan title. Yoshitatsu returned in it during the match to run off Jeff Jarrett, because they have the Bullet Club angle going on over there.
Oh,
so could
man.
what could AJ's next move be now that he's got that title off of him?
I don't even know what he's doing anymore. Isn't he still in Ring of Honor?
He still does some spots for him, I'm pretty sure, but he's mostly in New Japan with the Bullet Club. Yeah.
Okay, so he's kind of like a free agent in a way. Just kind of appearing here and there, it seems like. I'd love to see him in WWE, but...
Yeah, I would too.
They probably wouldn't know how to use him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Orton shut down the part-time schedule rumors that they were claiming he was going to go part-time or something like that. He shut those down.
Yeah, he shut those down. Yes, he said, you know, I saw the reports about how he's going to get a part-time contract, and he basically said that's a bunch of... Don't believe everything you see on the internet, that's what he said.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm starting to think a lot of the rumors that I see, you know, like you do, you know, some of them are true, but then some of them you're like, what are they talking
right.
about?
Did you see... Did you see this one, though? TNA expected to sign a new TV deal by, like, next Sunday.
Oh, man. Well,
which, I'm not believing everything I hear, but I'll believe it when I hear it, see it, like you said. But not to interrupt you, go ahead on that other one, though. Like,
yeah, I mean, if they're going to sign a TV deal, why hasn't it been signed yet? That's what I want to know. But, I don't know. It's just... The TNA, they need gosh, they need CM Punk or something.
Yeah.
Even if they did sign CM Punk, I don't know how much that would really help. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know what it would help either at
He'd
this point.
complain over there, too.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Yeah, that's all he does is complain. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, knowing Triple H and saying that they're pushing Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins just because to get back to CM Punk. You know, just to say, hey, look, we're pushing these guys. You know, if you would have stayed in the company and you know, did your part, you'd be here too.
But they also really need to push them too, because they really need new stars.
They do.
They'd be pushing them regardless, in my opinion. If you remember, Reigns was being pushed at the Rumble before Punk even left the company.
That is true. Uh-huh.
Punk may have been like, why am I not in that spot, though?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, wrestling's funny.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think I'm coming to the end of it, man. I really don't have much more to talk about. Hogan and Flair possibly appearing next week at Raw.
Oh, man.
So, we'll see those two fossils coming out. Although I do enjoy Flair. I do enjoy a good Flair segment. Hogan, don't want to see him in that pink.
I would like to see Ric Flair not have a scripted promo because, do you remember that panel they did where like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember
that. That was so damn scripted.
Why did they do that?
They were picking, SummerSlam winners or whatever, and that was like Shawn Michaels, Flair, and somebody else. It was just so gross to watch Flair just...
they did add some matches to Hell in the Cell, by the way, now that I see it.
Okay, did they?
Yeah, Big Show Rusev, Sheamus and Miz for the U.S.
Oh, man.
Well, then you got Ambrose and Rollins, and then Cena and Orton, so...
I'm really excited to see Damien Sandow. So far, that's the only one I'm really excited
Mizdow's the only one I want to see.
Yeah, because, Sandow's going to give you I'm good.
He's good for a good laugh.
That is, he's already got me ready for Monday now.
Right. He is like the best thing going on Raw right now, in my opinion.
He really is. I can't believe I'm saying I cannot wait to see what he does Monday just because it's entertaining, and it's just, he's a jolt of lightning to the show.
Right. I did have one other thing here I think I saw that I was going to mention before I got sidetracked for a second. Oh, I heard a funny rumor before I was going to say everything. Did you know that Michael Hayes had a relationship with Rosa Mendez, apparently?
Whoa. Michael P.S. Hayes had a what?
Had a relationship with, actually dated Rosa Mendez.
No
I
way.
heard that off of the Kevin Castle and Don Tony show, which I got to plug because I listen to them a lot, so... And they're great.
Good. I mean, if they're talking about it, then it's obviously probably true.
Yeah, because they do a lot of the same things, and I'm not going to sit here and say I don't get ideas from other, things.
Yeah.
From other shows. I listen to a lot of podcasts, stuff like that.
Yeah, they're very good to listen to. I mean, I can't say as if I'm the same. I don't have the same, mentality. And
right, we're not two New Yorkers going, talking.
Two
But
New Yorkers who can sit here and call CM Punk assholes and all that.
they're much different, you know what I mean? I don't like to use a lot of the language and stuff like that, which I'm not downfalling them that for any of that, but...
I don't. I don't have that mentality. But
I'm not trying to be as PG as WWE is, but I'd like for kids to tune into the show if possible.
Yeah, but I'd like that show. We can plug it. It's great. That's how we kind of get our ideas.
Yeah, we do get a lot of ideas off a lot of these podcast shows and stuff like that, as far as like the outline for the show and stuff like that. So we've got to plug those guys. Well, if you don't have anything else left, I have a little interesting tidbit of Ed Ferrara was on the Jim Ross show, and he had this little bit to say about the Acolytes, which I thought was really, really interesting. So, if you want to close it here with this, and listen to it with me. We'll call it a night and say peace out after that. But let's listen to what this says. It's like, I may cut it short, but it's about like 3 minutes long.
On the acolytes painted on symbols. He said you would like this question, and I have no idea what it means, but Greeny's just too damn funny, so I thought it's got to mean something.
It's a really interesting story, and I love that he asked that. I love Alex too. The thing with the acolyte symbols, if you remember, Farouk and Bradshaw, they both had, Farouk, Ron Simmons, but then he was still Farouk. They had sigils painted on their chest when they were part of the Ministry of Darkness. And where that came from is it was when before we had come up with the idea for the Ministry of Darkness, we knew we wanted to try a stable for Taker because we were going to do this whole heel thing with him, and we were trying to figure out who would be in the stable. We were going through the roster. We were at Vince's house one day, and when we got to both Ron Simmons and Bradshaw, at that time, they were both on the cusp of being, like you said, the eraser. They were on the cusp because they had tried numerous things with both of them. Nothing was really clicking for them, and Vince had lost faith. And you know as well as I do, when Vince loses faith, that's you got one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. So I personally was always a huge fan of Bradshaw because I loved Stan Hansen, and he reminded me so much of Stan Hansen, even before they were doing the new Blackjacks gimmick, which he really seemed to be channeling Hansen at that. But he reminded me of the young Stan Hansen. I always loved his work, and I really didn't want to see him let go. And Russo was the same with Ron Simmons. He didn't want to see him let go. So I was always a big horror guy and comic book guy. So I was like, okay, so these two guys who are constantly, now on TV, they're getting beat all the time. They can't win their matches. They're getting beat. So how do we all of a sudden make it so that way they're powerful and they all of a sudden are winning matches if it's the same guys? What's happened to them that now, just because they're with Undertaker, now they're winning matches? So we came up with the idea of that there were these like runes that once they painted these shapes on their chest, it kind of gave them more strength, more power, more stamina, and that was the whole idea where the acolytes came from. I don't know if we ever explained that on TV. It might have been explained somewhere along the line, but that was our storyline for why all of a sudden these two guys that a few weeks ago were having a hard time doing anything on TV, now all of a sudden they were just destroying people, and it was because of those symbols that they painted on their chest. They gave them some sort of a supernatural power, which fit in with that whole Ministry of Darkness stable.
There you have it, folks.
Oh, wow.
So did you ever know any of that?
Yeah, I always thought it was weird they had those things on their chest.
I never did know the story to that, actually, to tell you the truth. Why they had those on their chest.
Yeah, and he might be right. There might be a little segment somewhere on a Monday Night Raw, 15 years ago where it said something about those things, but I don't think anybody even remembers or even knows. I mean, JBL probably doesn't even know what's going on. Probably, Monday Night Raw a long time ago, there was maybe a little explanation, but no one probably knows where it's.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm sure they explained it somehow. I think I remember maybe them explaining it, but that was something that just sparked my interest, and I like to end the show with a clip now. I had a couple of feedback issues on that one, though, so sorry, but I'm going to say that is it for episode 5, man, and I guess we'll join you next week. Steven, we'll try to get you on here. If not, Jeff will be back again for next week. I'm going to say peace out, and until next time, it's the Brawl for All Pro Wrestling show. Steven?